within the laning phase as well. And I think a lot of people would have been expecting that Beryl would have been playing that Gragas, definitely one of his better champions, but this is the flexibility that we see. This is why drafting Gragas is so nice. And it means that Damwon Kia can do things like this and sort of flip things up, because Gragas works very well into the Renekton.
And I like the draw from Damwon Kia here. In the end, I think the Zilean actually does enable like big playmaking potential and actually gives you considerably more pressure, as Ghost can kind of dive in with less regard for his own life. Same for Canyon. Also, a speed up Zilean, speed up Hecarim is very funny to look at and also very, very broken. There's a reason why Cam Tank is currently the must pick. I think the DRX draft, I liked the first half of it where they went for the Seraphine, the Olaf and the Xayah. The Rakan and the Renekton makes sense from a pressure and a laning perspective, right? But I do feel like what you have now is you have a part of your composition that wants to play very far forward. I guess the Seraphine does enable that, but then Bao's just kind of left on his own, which against Damwon Kia I think is a really big risk. Even with all the innate safety that the Xayah have, it's Damwon Kia, right? Like if there is a team that will still find a way to make a hard engaged composition like this that dives incredibly aggressive work, it's them.
Absolutely. They also have a lot of setup for the Kai'Sa. I think oftentimes we would be, a little bit more hard on just picking Kai'Sa these days, just because the amount of strength that she does have is much lower than it used to be. But, we're the LCK. We like to be stuck in our ways just a little bit. But with the Damwon Kia draft, they've got so much setup and dive for the Kai'Sa that it's likely that it just works anyway, right? Like, if you're going to draft a composition where Kai'Sa's a good idea, it's one of these. And you can also just dive into the backline and get as much damage down as you can. Then you get a Zilean ult, and then you're basically immortal.
And that's the thing. I think that Damwon Kia, interestingly enough, still can play this composition multiple ways. Yes, you can play it as a true dive bomb composition where you just throw your ult on whoever goes in. It can be Canyon, it can be Khan, it can be Ghost. Generally, it will be one of the top two with Ghost and following up. And of course, Beryl, because we all know that man loves engaging sometimes a little bit too much, as you pointed out in that Gen G series. Although I felt like there were some circumstances because, of course, he was kind of forced to engage. But even keeping that in mind, like he was engaging when his team wasn't there, it was too much, right? And I don't think that that's going to be the case here, because this time, when he goes in, rest assured, someone will follow.
Precisely. And also, someone's probably already there, because Canyon is a very fast horse. And we do need to go back to this mid lane pick as we have a look at it. Seraphine, we saw the Veigar do pretty well in the early game. I think that Afrika botched a lot of how the rest of the game went, but I actually liked the draft. I liked the idea, and I liked the theory. And I think when you can see a pick and then understand exactly why it's picked, that feels good, right? And the Zilean is very similar. Has a historically very weak laning phase into almost anything. But so does Seraphine. So you can just allow your Zilean to get to a point where he bombs the wave. They all die, and then you're going to be very comfy from there. But it's getting to that point that has been very difficult for Zileans in the past.
And of course, I think the most famous Zilean will be that of Bjergsen, who has clutched out many a fifth game victory in the LCS with it, and then tried it on the international stage and then got like counterpicked and absolutely demolished. And in this case, this is the beauty, of course, of Damwon Kia actually using the opportunity that the DRX gives them in an attempt to draft something that has as much value as the Seraphine late game. And that's a hard ask, right? Like we already saw the Veigar definitely didn't do it. And maybe the Zilean will be, especially piloted by Showmaker, as we can see that it's been a while, and last time it was BDD of all people picking into
Well, I mean, BDD is actually, you were mentioning Bjergsen, and I was going to talk about BDD actually playing the Zilean at Worlds last year, and has always been our, resident Zilean player, unless you're going to talk about Faker, who was playing Zilean a lot when Zilean was busted, which was definitely many moons ago. That is going into my boomer books, talking about Faker Zilean, because it has certainly been a long time, but BDD more recently has enjoyed picking that one up. So taking a leaf out of his book is Showmaker, but it's one of these things that a lot of our players do have sort of in the back of their minds when there are sort of laning phases that are focused mainly on scaling, much like Seraphine is.
I feel with Faker, you can just name a champion and be like, oh yeah, Faker played that like for
basically,
like 2 weeks.
Yeah, you can talk like AP Master Yi is another one, but that's because Faker's been playing so damn long that all of these flavor of the month champions that just happened to be overlooked a little bit, you could say, by the balance team. He played them because
he was there.
He's been playing forever. So obviously it's one of those things. So it's almost like you look at Faker's champion pool and the things that he's played historically, not necessarily as things Faker has played, but more as an encyclopedia of what the meta was throughout the years.
Wow.
It's my take into that.
It's a nice metaphor.
Thank you.
I like it. I've heard much worse from both you and
from me.
Yeah, well, also
I'm
from me.
I'm certainly not necessarily well known for my my good metaphors.
Listen, and that's why I think it's important to point out when it does go well.
Yeah, exactly.
We do that with players.
Which I think might be more of a problem because then that it just encourages me to do more, and often they're not great. So we'll see how it does go. Currently, right now, DRX have been getting the better of the laning phase. As you could expect with Renekton on the top side of the map, he is. If left to his own devices in the earlier stages, before that Bramble Vest comes in, he's going to be very happy. But I think that when Khan does put that together, he's going to be a pretty happy Gragas. Does have Lucidity Boots right now. That's a lot of Lucidity Boots everywhere, just showing the power of those particular shoes,
It's Lucid Dreams on the top side of the map for Dom and Kia, and
Indeed.
a low-paced game. I personally find it hard to really call because, like I said, I think if you take away the nameplates, I still look at that Seraphine and that Xayah, and I think that even with the lack of a traditional frontline, that is actually something that for Dom Kia might be hard to deal with if it wasn't Dom Kia. But this team has shown time and time again that the win condition, if it's there, they will find it and play it and push it as far as humanly possible. As
Beryl gonna go down very low, down to 100, gets the heal from Ghost, but he's still under fire. The Eclipse, oh my god, the value was just ludicrous as Canyon and Showmaker just going to get out of the way of Kyoshik and Solka here as they shove in a wave as well. So a bit of testing the waters, but not too much to come from it.
You cannot give kills to Bao, right? That is a surefire way in which, as Damwon Kia, even with the talent that you have for finding wins in hard situations, you cannot get Bao fed because actually getting on top of him when he has Feather Storm, Cleanse and Flash available is going to be really, really hard, not even considering the fact that if you don't hunt the Zirium, then Solka saves him, and then you're in a very, very unhappy scenario. And that's where I'm going to be looking at how Damwon Kia is going to set up fights later in the game. Because, again, I feel like it's going to be hard to actually get on Bao consistently, but Damwon Kia, on the other hand, have so many, absurdly strong dive tools. We've seen just the Gragas be enough to completely ruin the life of any AD carry, right? And it's not just Gragas, it's Hecarim and Leona as well, with a Kai'Sa to back it up. So I think that's going to be a really interesting back and forth later in the game.
I also think that Leona pairs very well with the Zilean, as I'm going to have to hold that thought for a moment as the cast goes down and Kingan's going to be booped away from Khan, and Khan is just going to casually wander away. Currently 5 CS behind, not feeling too bad. The thing that I'm a little bit worried about, as you were talking about compositions and things like that, I don't think Renekton is big enough frontline for DRX to reliably front to back. The same can be said for the Olaf, and it'll be largely on Solka, his positioning and W usage in order to make things work, as we do have a look at a bit of a flash being blown in the mid lane, and we saw the aftermath of this as Kyoshi comes in and undertows a wave, and that was about all that came of it. So they did manage to get the flash from Solka, and we'll see whether Canyon makes a return visit.
Really cute. I think smiling there to activate his Nimbus Cloak. Maybe he can get to them, but he couldn't. He did not like it, unfortunately. I agree with you, but I do think that just the existence of Seraphine, once she finishes Moonstaff, is actually it's actually gonna give so much more longevity to 2 picks, which in a vacuum, I definitely agree with you. I don't think they actually provide you with nearly enough frontline. But it's not about how good Olaf and Renekton are, it's about how busted Seraphine is. That makes me worry, right? That's kind of the takeaway from this. I think that in a front-to-back, normally, it wouldn't even be close. But in this scenario...
Ooh, Beryl gets gifted level 6. That's actually kind of cute from Showmaker there. This will allow... Zilean warps games as well because of his ability to gift experience over. And Beryl now being level 6 for this Herald fight is actually huge.
Oh, yeah.
As Becca doesn't have the quickness, and the Solar Flare is available. DRX grouped as 5, though. We'll see. Looks like Solka's looking for a bit of a wraparound encore play as Ghost is just chilling on the bottom side of the map. Canyon running around pretty quick, waiting for his opportunity to get in. He won't have that devastating charge and will just ult his way out. So they'll give this one up and allow Ghost to try and get that money back. by picking up, this plate at least on the bottom side, with Solka coming in to clear things out. This allows Damwon Kia to push out the mid lane, but Bow's here as well, as he does collect himself a bomb. It's not exactly the biggest of deals at this stage of the game.
And that's a deal that I think you take as DRX. If Ghost was another AD carry, was a Tristana, was an Aphelios, you might have been able to get more out of this. However, in this scenario, he got one plate, he got like, I think, one and a half wave of experience lead, which really isn't that much. It's a nice lead, but it's kind of negligible. And that makes me believe that, especially if we get a possible dive or a solo kill into a big play on one of these turrets combined with that Rift Herald, then we might see a lead start to come up here for DRX.
Well, you can see Showmaker just backing. Don't think he wants to actually take that blue buff. He's going to take his own potentially next time around. And Canyon is going to successfully steal that one away. Currently very even as far as jungle farm is concerned, and it looks like Damwon Kia are playing this one with a lot of comfort. Very happy just to scale into the late game, utilize their composition in order to win, which is largely what Damwon Kia often does, but it's once again one of these games where they've given up a lot of these early objectives. 1 minute on this Infernal Drake, and I think that might be the first time that Damwon Kia do start to, actually participate in a lot of these potential skirmishes, as Ghost will collect this wave and continue having a bit of an advantage for himself as well, as Void Seeker is going to be blocked by Becca, but he can just utilize the Lovers Duo passive and he can get home alongside Isaiah very comfortably. Showmaker just standing in the wave. Look at that. Wears a bomb as a hat and collects all the minions. Very satisfying.
Very fashionable. That feels like one of those avant-garde hair or head dresses where it's like like an exploding
like a fascinator
hat.
from the races.
Yeah, and then like it gets locked in time, and then that's the kind of idea that the artist wants to give to you. But then to normal people, it just looks like an exploded hat, and you can see like your hair come through it, and it just looks kind of like a mess.
Yeah,
I can see that.
I like it though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you should, but.
The thing that I do actually really like about the Zilean pick, though, is the fact that he's a wave ahead. There is a wave to collect here from Solka, so it is a lot more even than it might look. But Zilean with a farm advantage ever is something that, you don't necessarily expect unless you can get to a late game where he's mopping up wave after wave after wave. But coming out of an early game this well off is definitely good news, and also makes me pretty pleased thinking about how he must be feeling as far as his wrist is concerned as well.
Yeah, we really want a place to be okay.
Yeah,
right? Like that is of the utmost importance. Not just even with something like playoffs in mind, but also just these players, they put in so much time, so much work, and it can be quite hard on the body. I think that's also why we've seen such a big shift as Drake getting started here.
Yep, Ghost does have the ulti available. Teleport going to come in from Khan here as they get into the backline. There's the Encore onto a couple of members. And immediately Desire is blown up at the Leona. Same thing can be said, but Canyon is now all over this one. Seraphine no longer in the fight, and that means DRX have to get the heck out of there. Damwon Kia should be able to lock down the Infernal Drake now in a beautiful fight when they initially started, right? Like, this is the first time we've seen Damwon Kia actually really participate in this game.
Atlas, that was a 4 versus 5. Ghost wasn't there. He
didn't decide to ult in,
listen,
right?
He was in the general vicinity. He was taking a look, but he wasn't actually there, okay? And...
Oh, Showmaker going to find some bombs here onto Pyoshik, who does have to get out, and there's the flash forward. Can the clock slam? Oh no, Pyoshik has to just watch himself fall down. No, the bomb, it's chasing him, it's picking. Oh my god, it got the scariest little raptor of all time.
Chicken with a hat finds the Viking. Pyoshik gets taken down in the end. Oh man, Showmaker. I don't...
That is a huge play. The leash range on those chickens, man, that's really unfortunate for Pyoshik.
Also the fact that it didn't like go onto Becca, because they were like, no, we want.
We know where we're going. Oh no.
Going back, like that was to that dragon fight, because I'm still pretty perplexed. Like that was a 4 versus 5, and I think it's going to be up to Bao and Solka's positioning, and Bao's not using of the Feather Storm, which shouldn't be excusable. Like, this is not a fight you're allowed to lose. You know this is coming 100%. And there we see Bao just gets instantly blown up. I think it's a cask into a Hecarim ultimate into him just dying.
No, the cask was actually used to kill Solka. So
you have fed a Storm and Flash.
Yeah.
That's not allowed. Like,
I think they killed him within the fear.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. As we have a look at this one once again, every cog was important, by the way. As that's about max range on that bomb. Really beautifully done. And then look at this angry chicken. He actually speeds up. Oh my goodness, terrifying.
I want to say... No?
와 라칸 때문에 살았어. 와우! 와, 저 칼레브리 뭐냐? 칼레브리가 올라프 따라.
Oh, thank you, lucky chicken showmaker. That is, and this is something that we've talked a lot about warping, right? Like what warps this game. Seraphine is a really good example, but Zilean, interestingly enough, is like one of the OGs of that, where what the champion does creates such a big shift in how you need to approach objectives. Oh, maybe Ford.
Yep, he may just be dead here as he decides that instead he wants to take down the minion wave and will do so. So one measly cannon minion going to remain and will be taken down.
Man with a mission.
Absolutely. No teleport available here for Khan, so he's dead for another 20 seconds as Canyon standing on this control ward. He will be able to take that one down. Now Pyoshik started up Shirley, looking to try and grab that one for himself. But Dalmonkia in the vicinity, and I don't think this is something that Pyoshik should be able to do. The extra speed up for the damage boost on a Hecarim as well as making him extraordinarily quick is going to be scary as in goes the quickness. Showmaker makes his way out, utilizing the Zilean that you're mentioning. Zilean really does warp things. That speed up certainly helping out here, and that is going to spell the end of Solka once again. We've seen Hecarim be the bane of so many of these control mages in the mid lane, just with his ability to get behind and dive, and we're seeing that once again here.
And yet again, like, this is just Dalmonkia playing so incredibly well, right? Like, it's so hard to, after a draft, accurately assess like the chances of this team, because it just feels like, what other team does this, right? Like, they just play it so well whenever they see the slightest opening, and look at Showmaker there. A lot of other mid laners die, but Showmaker is able to, I think he had heal available as well, combined with the speed up, and he just gets out of there. And yet again, Solka and Bao are two pivotal members of this composition. They cannot afford to die. They need to stay alive no matter what. Last time it was Bao, this time it was Solka. You need those pivotal carries because they keep the composition together. If you don't have your Seraphine, you're not going to win any single fight. And yes, you can criticize the initial decision of DRX to kind of go for that, but I feel like if you execute that better, that might look completely different, but instead they try to overforce this, you know, I don't mind it, but at this point, Dalmonkia is like, no, we're not falling for this one. No. we know what's going on here.
And actually I really love the Zilean pickup. I really liked Fly's decision to pick the Viger as well. I think that's another cool idea. It didn't work because Afrika's execution was not exactly the greatest in that particular game, but the draft, I felt, was kind of cool if they were able to actually utilize it correctly. So we do have a look at Khan just dying here up towards the top side. He does give up the Ghost and throws a cask at the mini wave just to make sure that he can keep his wave in check. But this was just beautifully done. Look at Showmaker, speeds himself up, gets out of the way of Becca, and can't even catch up to him with the quickness through an exhaust. It's crazy.
Unbelievable. And here you see the value. Oh man, that is...
And this was just sad. Level advantage for Canyon.
No Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Yikers. Yeah, and now the arrow gets thrown down mid lane. And this is starting to feel like kind of a similar game like we've seen before. Ghost has a bounty, even though he has not interacted with anyone in this entire game. Right?
He's been playing PvE. He's it's like all of his mates are playing League of Legends. He's in the Discord, but he's playing Valheim, you know? He's just chilling.
He's just punching trees.
Yep. Having a good time, though, as solo player towards the bottom side. Bao using everything just to get out, but there's so much CC. The horse collapses on in. The quickness is going to go on to 2 as Beryl misses the Zenith Blade. Khan going down very low, but body slams his way out. Now Showmaker here on the backside, not able to save the horse. And this is what happens when the Seraphine's able to just sit in the back and throw out all of her Moonstone buffs. As, okay, this bomb might do some work, but Khan's just going to be taken down. Ghost finally throws some abilities at his opponents. Does still have the ulti available as well, as now Pyoshik eats a bomb once again. Showmaker picks up one of his own here, is now Kingin chasing after Ghost, but he's a long way away from the rest of his team. Bombs flying on forward as Ghost flashes his way out. The exhaust comes through now. Blast Cone will spell the end of the Kai'Sa. Now it's Showmaker versus the world, and I don't think he's going to be able to get it done. 3 members of DRX is going to take down this first Ocean Drake.
That's Seraphine, baby! I said earlier, Bao and Soka have to both live. I retract that statement. Bao died immediately.
Bao doesn't need to live. Soka needs to live. Yeah.
You just need Soka because you see here, this is the reason why this pick is first pick worthy. In extended skirmishes, there is not a single champion that does as well. And here you see the 2 team comps at work, right? Because what Damwon Kia wants to do, which they do very well, is find someone, run over them, quite literally, and then win the fight from there. That part of the plan works. But then they opt into an extended fight against the Seraphine. I think here you say, okay, Canyon, you're just gone.
Oh, Solka's positioning is just fantastic in this fight as well.
I know.
Really playing within the ranges of all of his opposition, which aren't very high, right? It's not a long-range composition from Damwon Kia. It's a dive composition. And that certainly suits what Solka wants to do, keeping everyone within his sight lines, being able to throw down whatever he wants to.
They go back in.
Yeah, you may as well, right? Because these bombs aren't really hurting.
No. Damwon Kia stays, and they go back in.
Oh, right, yeah. That was silly. That was silly.
Oh.
As maybe this is what they want, as the ulti comes out from Canyon. Solar Flare going to miss onto Bao, who is very, very low, and Seraphine's on the top side of the map. That's why Damwon Kia can do this. And Showmaker just going to see to these minions. Damwon Kia nowhere near out of it or anything like that, but certainly DRX demonstrating exactly what this composition is capable of, and we've seen it many, many times in many, many regions. Seraphine is just busted. Another thing as well I want to point out is that I think Serpent's Fang is disabled on the Korean client because I haven't seen it, and Seraphine is basically hard counted by that item, but we just don't know that it exists here in Korea.
And I think the big problem with the item in this instance is that the only one who you can remotely build it on is Ghost, and even then, like a full lethality item without crit, it just doesn't feel great, right? Like a lot of the picks where it would be strong in something like a Graves or a Misfortune, Graves has fallen pretty far down like the ladder of high prio picks. Misfortune not in the meta at all at the moment, and that just creates a situation in which even if you do go for the item as Ghost, I think the value that you get regarding the damage that you do against Solka is really, really good. But will it be enough? Will it offset the amount of crit that you lose? I'm not sure, because that's why Collector was so good, right? It wasn't just lethality in the passive, it also still gave you crit, so it built you towards that 100% crit chance.
Yeah, theoretically, but I still think that it's...
Oh, it's really, really good.
So much damage onto AoE shields that DRX do have in spades, right?
Yeah, I mean...
So you're going to be doing way more. The value is actually... Like, if he builds Collector here, I'm going to be very upset.
No, it's okay. Like, a PD is fine.
Yeah, he actually wants to get the Supercharger passive. That's what Ghost has been aiming for, a very early evolution on that E. And he's been utilizing it very, very well. I think that when it comes to our 80 carries, I think that Ghost plays with the Supercharger invisibility much better than a lot of others.
I agree.
It's why he's been so successful. So I don't mind this. I just love to see a Serpent's Fang. We're not going to, but I'd just really like to see it.
I agree. Yeah, I don't have a lot more to add than it is a really good item. And I think that it is one of the items that's kind of undervalued. It took us a while to get to the point where we're like, oh, actually Everfrost is super broken. At least in the LCK, right? As you already pointed out, sometimes we're a little bit slower. However, I do again want to reiterate that we slowly see the LCK move towards a little bit more craziness, like the Zillion pick, right?
Yeah.
Vega, like it's better than it's been, and that's something that, while not as happy to embrace off-meta picks like other regions, LEC in particular comes to mind. It's still a progression, and I think the Damwon Kia actually is one of the big instigators of that.
I mean, they played Fizz top, right?
Well, yeah.
I don't even think Wonder's done that.
Well, I don't know what's crazier, Fizz or Ivan, right? Like, I
think Ivan's definitely that's the winner.
Well, yeah.
I mean,
I'd
well,
say
is
so.
it? Like, if you've watched LS's stream, you know that Ivan can be played in basically every single lane.
And that's the thing, and the Fizz was, I mean, it was popular as well, and this is the problem with like a game, the Age of League of Legends, you can always go back and like, no, this was meta before, actually, you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, even AP Sign was a thing. Now, was it a completely different champions? Yes.
Bit of a shout out to good old Reginald over there. That's beautiful. Build Moby Boots and as many rings as you can.
Oh,
love
baby.
it. Love it.
However, the game in hand, not a lot is happening, which gives us the chance to go on a trip down memory lane.
Absolutely.
I like it.
I like it too, yeah. It's certainly a slow one. Damwon Kia were able to grab one of the Drakes, but in 20 seconds time, we might have a little bit more tomfoolery. You could see like DRX did manage to get a slight gold advantage. We have a look at the gold graph. It is going to be, it's going to look like a flat line, which is largely a good representation of the amount of action that we've had so far this game. But thankfully now, with this Drake spawning, it's an excuse
for
our teams to fight.
Okay, that's a TP.
Yeah. Goshik actually going to start this one off pretty quickly as Beryl slowed down by the undertow, and in goes Canyon. He's so fast as Featherstorm comes out. He ults his way to relative safety as well with the quickness. It's huge in the backline. Ghost already so low in this fight. As the ulti comes out from the Seraphine, she's just keeping everyone alive. Kingen now chasing after the rest of Damwon Kia. Khan gets himself safely over the wall, and Showmaker's booking it for the relative safety of his fountain. But DRX should easily be able to get themselves to either a Drake or even a Baron. By the looks, as now Ghost once again going to be baited by a stopwatch. Flashes out of the way of Goshik, who's just going to smite him to death. And it's all too easy for DRX. And I think you might be right. I think Seraphine might just be a little bit too busted.
And you can do Baron as well, because your health was going to be full in a matter of seconds, Atlas.
Wow, look at all these shields. If only there was an item that could remove all of these shields.
If only.
No, it's okay. I completely understand your point of view with how it doesn't necessarily help the itemization. This Baron getting taken down very low. Showmaker making his way in here. Couple of bombs coming out as Pyosik. Oh, once again, it was going to be another NPC that was booking for his life as Beryl's going to make his way in, but the Baron already taken down. Kingen, he's got a bomb on his head, but I don't think he's going to be dying today. Makes it back to the safety of his Sulker. And yeah, Battle Dance going to come through as well, as Canyon does end up executing the Crocodile. Now they're looking to try and do a little bit more, but Canyon very, very low. Great stun to come out from Showmaker though, as Olaf finally taken down Beryl in a little bit too deep here, but also Bao in a bit of a problematic situation. Ooh. Canyon wearing the bomb, hoping that there was someone over that wall, but unable to lock anyone down. Damwon Kia do grab a couple of picks, so only 2 Barons left on DRX, and they weren't able to get to this Ocean Drake. So Damwon Kia are going to even the score on that one.
Because if there is an Ocean Drake on a team with a Seraphine, it's like
yeah, that's it.
Dead.
Yeah,
that's it. That's just, there's no way that you get back.
It was like Ocean and Soraka back in the day. That was, you know, it's the same story.
I don't want to think about that, Atlas.
No, it's not a good time. Not a good time at all.
And what we see here is the value of the Seraphine yet again. Even though Damwon Kia goes in big, and you'd expect, just looking at the draft and the power of the champions that they have, to be fine in a front-to-back teamfight where you can dive into the enemy backline. The power of Seraphine just enables Kingen and Pyosik to such an extent that...
Pyosik's health bar, sorry.
Yeah, no,
very amusing.
I know. It's not okay. And the one thing that keeps Damwon Kia in this game is just these type of executions, right, where they go in 3 versus 5 and they actually make it work. And here the Zilean ulti does come into fruition, because the thing is, Zilean provides basic impunity for one member, whereas Seraphine does it for the entire team, right? And that's the crux of the problem.
AoE immortality is pretty good, as it turns out.
I mean, it's like if Tarek's ult was just always there and then constant, and then also like it's so good. And then we saw there as well, like, that fight started off so well as it did because Soka hit an lengthened encore and then was immediately followed up by Becca, right? Like, it's again, the champion is just so strong. There's a reason why it always gets P1. Yep. And here we see that while the Zilean does well, I still don't know if it's going to be enough. And I think if it is, it's just because Damwon Kia is such a damn good team and they're able to find openings that no other teams would. And if Soka steps out of line even one single time and that Seraphine is gone, I can assure you the rest of this composition will not do well. It's just, that's it. That's, no.
This Baron power play is going lower and lower, as you can see. And Damwon Kia is certainly utilizing the fact that they were able to get so many picks afterwards. It's really helped their coffers. Only 20 seconds to go on that one, so the Baron, an absolute wash. No real advantages there, as Damwon Kia 4 turrets to 1. And that's something the DRX don't really have, which is Siege. There's basically none. It's very, very difficult to get up towards a turret. And Damwon Kia, they have so much wave clear. Like, this is something we get to talk about again. I feel like we haven't had conversations about wave clear in a while.
No, it's not.
And Zilean, he was the OG. Next to Anivia, those two, they could delay games for about as long as you want. Zig's a perfect other example. But with these bombs where you just throw them down and the minions just conga line into them and then all die, like, Oh, it's not exactly what you want.
And this is kind of the nature of these death ball compositions, right? This is something that we also saw with the DRX when it was really strong, where once it's hit its stride, a straight up 5v5 fight or even a scuffle around an objective just becomes so favored towards the team that is running the death ball. As a StarCraft player, this is something I'm very familiar with. If you've ever played against Protoss, they have their death balls. They're not fun. They feel very unfair, and I'm sure that's what Damonkia is right now. Like, oh, if only we didn't let Seraphine go through the draft. And I feel like that's a lesson that we learn a lot in the LCK, but then we immediately forget it, which, you know, that's a bit unfortunate. And even then, I still hesitate to call this game over either way.
Oh, no, absolutely.
It's every fight becomes a question of, and here you say again, that's nice wave clear. Showmaker doesn't even have to be close. And it's probably just going to be like nothing until the Drake fight, and then I don't even think that's going to be enough to break it, because with how Damonkia has been playing these fights, even if they lose the eventual fight, they always blow up at least 1 or 2 people, and if those people are like Solka, or sorry, Bao and Pioshik, then all of a sudden the push, right, that you have becomes a lot less strong. So I think we're in for the long run here, Atlas.
Well, I mean, it's already pretty long as it ticks over to 30 minutes, and the gold within 200.
Longer.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe it's going to be the 50-minute. We'll see whether we do get there. As 9 stacks on Showmaker's Magi's. As Ghost is going to get to level 15. He's desperate to get an assist or a kill, guys. This Kai'Sa certainly hasn't been really doing anything so far this game, as we have a minute until this Drake, but already it's Damonkia setting up around the area.
Atlas, he's waiting for the nuke that's researching, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. No, that's
to find his angle.
I completely understand. Okay. He's been sitting back at base trying to work out when he's supposed to get in there. And right now, Ghost is infiltrating the base, which is very thematically correct if we're talking about the StarCraft.
Oh, yeah.
So I like it a lot. We'll see. He does manage to take down 1 structure. Didn't even need to use the nuke.
And what I'm glad, something that I haven't really pointed out yet, is this is another solution to the death ball is pull it apart, right? Like, be in multiple locations. And with the speed ups that you have, the mobility and the solo lane potential of some of these characters on the side of Damonkia, specifically Ghost, he can easily join the rest of his team. You're in a pretty good scenario where you can actually try and pull them apart. And then the power of that comp is not nearly as threatening.
Yeah, as Ghost is going to get sped up. Bao tagged by the Void Seeker. Ghost needs to do a little bit more in the fights that are going to be ensuing, right? I imagine DRX might actually be surprised with the fact that Ghost can do damage, because he hasn't really done very much so far this game. Kingen wearing a bomb right now, as everyone just gets out of the way of him. Battle Dance to give him that little bit of a shield, but look at how dark the map is here for DRX. Damonkia have made sure that they've retained control over this area, and now Ghost is going to get to work on this Ocean Drake, and Damonkia have just turned the lights off, and DRX, no ability to come in and answer that whatsoever. So, Soul Point going over to Damonkia with just beautiful vision play.
And the problem for DRX is that you kind of want to face check as a unit, but you can't. And this is where the lack of an actual tank does come into play, where if this is a Sion instead of a Renekton, he can walk in, right? Like, even if he face checks, it doesn't matter. He has like
even an Alistair can walk in, right? And
yeah.
I think looking back to the draft, that ban was pretty good from Damonkia.
And it creates a scenario where DRX, if they know roughly where everyone on Damonkia is, they can walk in. If it's a river fight, if they're on a Baron, you can definitely go in and be fine. But in these corridors, right, where you can't actually bunch up because you will get blown up by all the AoE from Damonkia, it's actually quite a hard one, and this is why I love to watch Damonkia, is because we can see them adapt to this composition as the game progresses, and this is one of the reasons why this team is so good.
Why is this game so incredibly close? It's ludicrous.
Seraphine.
Yep, 33 minutes in, and the Baron down to about half health as Canyon picks up a bomb. He's going to take it away. As you can see, Solka dropping the beat in the backline here. We'll see how many abilities he's going to be able to land. That W is what you need to keep your eye on as Kingen down to about half health, but not for long, guys. As into the backline goes Canyon, and he's looking for Solka. Ghost finds him and pops him. It was a one-man encore, and that might spell the end of this one, but now Bao, he's the one that's left alive. Ghost flashes his way out. Canyon going to be taken care of. As you can see, Khan flashes on top of the Crocodile and will put him into his GA for the moment. But now he's getting closed in on. Showmaker at about half health, looking for Becca now. Becca gets slowed down as now Khan is very tanky And I don't even know whether he's going to die right now as he does make his way out. The double bomb is beautiful. Kingen, so many shields. And he's going to survive. Another one gets thrown in there with the flash from Showmaker. But I'm going to call this fight a bit of a wash. It's a 2-for-1, but no one's able to get onto this Baron just yet. And with the health bars so low, Damwon Kia wanting to get back in once again. Kingen in trouble, in goes Khan. Barrel goes down, his health bar's very large. And look, there's just not a lot of damage. The Thornmail here from Khan really means that Bao does not do a lot of work, even though that Lord Dominic's is there. Solka teleports back in though, and that's all the fun over from Damwon Kia.
And that's what you get with these type of compositions with so much sustain. Even with Solka dying, we've had like multiple 1-2 minute fights here, and
yeah.
I'm feeling sorry for you, Atlas. Like, you're not getting any break. We don't get to talk about any fun stuff when these fights are just ever going. And again, even with Solka dying, there's still so much sustain. They go in for yet another fight.
Yeah, this time the Baron started up by Damwon Kia. Good bombs to land on to Pyoshik as into the backline goes Canyon. A lot of damage from Bao, who's completely untouched. Ghost now trying to get in on top of him. And the Supercharger's there, manages to pop him in the end. They didn't have the Featherstorm quite available yet, and now Canyon is just going to launch himself over the top of everyone. With 80 carries taking each other out, with Solka now dead, Damwon Kia are so much stronger than DRX. And yep, goodbye Renekton. And hello Baron, or breaking open the base here for Damwon Kia as Canyon says, well, I think I got my eye on this inhibitor.
The one problem is that actually ending without your 80 carry is not going to work, because literally no one on the side of Damwon Kia actually pushes turrets well besides Ghost, and he's dead. And here, yet again, it's DRX. They're in kind of an awkward position where Becca is, I guess, looking for the flank, but then the flank is still found regardless. And the only thing that Bao does in this fight is attempt to ult Ghost, right? And Ghost, he's been super on point with both of these jumps into the enemy backline, blowing up the enemy carry, and then we get another, I want to say, Clown Fiesta fight where it's just like, we chase down a super tanky Cyan without the sustain that makes it so strong in these extended fights, right? And this is a tendency that DRX have shown before. DRX, may I remind you, in the game against T1, they found the fight, then instead of taking the dragon, they spent 30 seconds chasing a team down the river, and we all know how that one ended.
Not very well. Bit of a spoiler alert. If you guys want to check out that game, you should probably go back and have a look at another one of these replays as we had back-to-back team fights. It's like we were saving up all of the excitement for the very end of this particular game.
And as you pointed out, I don't think both the Encore and the Featherstorm were not available, right?
Yeah.
And if that's the case, you need to play it slow. You cannot move up like that as DRX, because those two ultimates are the crux of your composition.
Well, now we've got Baron encircling all of the members of Damwon Kia.
Oh, that's all.
And yeah, let's see. 5 seconds time as Pyoshik's going to get booped back. Still has Ragnarok and still has Solka, who is basically the best item in the game right now for the Olaf. And now Khan looking for an opportunity here. Solka actually starting to do some damage. Oh my god, the damage! And that is going to be Ocean Soul now. And maybe that's going to be enough to give Damwon Kia their version of Seraphine. We'll have to have a look as Canyon looking for the wraparound is already Pyoshik down very, very low. The battlefield certainly belongs to Damwon Kia right now. It's right into the back line. Goes Canyon. And now Pyoshik right in the front, but now he might be too far away from Solka, and the answer is yes. Solka moves up too far, gets executed by the Kaiser, and now Bao's Featherstorm ain't going to be enough. It's a quadra kill as Ghost finally gets online, and this should be game for Damwon Kia.
And it was a gorgeous game here from both DRX and Damwon Kia, but in the end, the pressure and the team fighting prowess of Damwon Kia simply proves too much. And as you said, if you don't have a Seraphine yourself, Zilean gives it to one person, then an Ocean Soul on top of it, and you will be just fine.
3-0-14. Can you injure my wrist for me? I want to play like Showmaker. He did so damn well that game on the Zilean.